I'm Michael Patel, President and founder of the Fatty Liver Alliance, with a very special and very different online chat today. I'm with Dr. Naim Alkhouri, who is the Chief Medical Officer and Chief of Transplant Hepatology and the Director of the Fatty Liver Program at Arizona Liver Health in Phoenix, Arizona. Naim, I know you and the team are super thrilled, excited to announce the grand opening of the Arizona Clinical Trials new state-of-the-art ACT Medical Park in Chandler, Arizona. Your grand opening celebration, I'll do a little plug for you here too. It'll take place on Thursday, September 19th from 4 to 7 p.m. And we are so excited today to get a very personal tour with you so that the world can see what an amazing facility you and the team have set up. So I guess let's just start with saying what made you and the team create ACT, and like where did this brainchild come from?
Yeah, no, thank you so much, Mike, for doing this for us. We really appreciate you and appreciate for our patients with chronic liver diseases. So as you know, we started Arizona Liver Health about 7 years ago, and we've been doing phase 2 and 3 clinical trials in MASLD and MASH, and we worked on developing some of the drugs that either made it to FDA approval, like resmetirom, or other medications that might be coming in the near future. But we wanted to do more sophisticated clinical trials and do what we call phase 1 work, focus on hepatic impairment studies, and be able to house patients for a few nights to generate what we call PK/PD data, and also be able to do renal impairment studies, drug-drug interaction studies, food effect studies. And we felt that we needed this facility where we can, again, confine patients for a few nights. We can take blood draws from them every hour for a few hours, control what they're eating, and monitor them very closely so we can generate state-of-the-art data for our sponsors, the pharmaceutical companies that are trying to understand how their medications get metabolized in the body of someone with cirrhosis, for example, for hepatic impairment trials. As we started planning this, also, we realized that we need our own imaging center, and we actually opened, the imaging center here at ACT Medical Park, with state-of-the-art MRI technology, PET-CT scan, DEXA scan, ultrasound, Fibroscan, anything that you need to conduct clinical trials. So this is the second project within ACT Medical Park. We also decided to become a research company agnostic to the disease. So we started what we call Arizona Clinical Trials, ACT. We started this a few years ago, but part of ACT will be housed here. And we are open to do obesity clinical trials, dyslipidemia, diabetes, hypertension. We also do vaccine trials. We've been involved in several protocols, new vaccine like flu, RSV, norovirus. So very exciting. So this is our flagship, and we are very excited to show this to the world. And everyone who's listening in, you are invited to the grand opening of ACT Medical Park on September 19th. We would be happy to see you 4 p.m. Arizona time. So
Unlike me today. So Naim, I don't get refreshments, but they will when they come on the opening, right?
Yes, and food, yes.
Okay, sure. I'm very excited. Let's start.
Okay, so I'm going to walk you to the phase 1 unit. Okay, this is the state of the art. We have 24 beds, single beds, and patients are going to feel very welcomed here. And we have an amazing team with a lot of experience. It's a long walk, so bear with me.
And are there patients here today too?
Today, actually, we don't have a patient, but actually, on Thursday, Friday, we will have patients. And then after Labor Day, we're going to have a few people that will be confined for 2 weeks. So it's going to get busy quickly.
Okay, that's great. This is all real time, so I know we'll be hearing people that are working too, so that's okay. Thank you, Nick, for the videoing as well. Got to give you credit.
Pleasure. So welcome, Michael. This is the phase 1 unit. This is the working station. We have some of our amazing clinical research coordinators and some of the leadership team. So we'll walk around. Hi, how are you? So you can see these are all rooms that we will have patients. And again, each room has just one bed. So we'll come in here. So just, typical bed. We have telemetry. Patients will have their own TV, closet, whatever they need to make sure that they have a comfortable stay with us. And we have, of course, all the necessary facilities for them, showering area, an area for them to snacks, their own kitchen. They can also have visitors from outside. And although we don't want any of our patients to smoke, we do have an area for them if they need to smoke outside. Because, as I mentioned, some of the protocols require confinement for a week, sometimes even longer than that. So we want them to feel, taken care of and at home, and they can actually continue to do whatever they need to do.
Okay. What would the average time be that they would be there for? You mentioned earlier they'd be overnight. So when would they be?
It depends on the protocol. Some protocols will need just one overnight stay. Some of them will need a week. Sometimes you have to start working on getting them ready for a day or two before you give them a first dose. Phase one work is very exciting, but sometimes you can be doing what we call first in human. So it could be the first time a human being is receiving a medicine. We do what we call single ascending dose studies also. So this is when you receive one dose of the medicine and then we generate the PK and PD data. We do also something called multiple ascending doses where the patient will receive only a few doses of the medicine. And these patients, I mean, we always tell them that we are very grateful and thankful to what they're doing because this is early on. These medications will not benefit their health in any way for the vast majority of the trials we do. So they're doing this for humanity and to help other patients that have, let's say, advanced liver disease, and we want to understand if we need to dose adjust if they need to receive a specific medication. So phase one work, the medications can be for any indication, Mike. They're not only for liver diseases. So example, cancer drugs, headache drugs, drugs for psoriasis, rheumatoid arthritis, inflammatory bowel disease. But the idea for us, as Arizona Liver Health, that we are testing them in patients with cirrhosis. And we divide patients based on the severity of cirrhosis using something we call the Child-Pugh score. So we have Child-Pugh A, which is compensated cirrhosis, Child-Pugh B and C, and these are considered decompensated. We have a very large database now, 4,500 patients with cirrhosis that we follow at Arizona Liver Health. So many of these patients will qualify for these studies. And they get compensated for their time. So this is another incentive for our patients. Every overnight stay, every visit you do, you get compensated for your time. And again, we always tell them that you're helping potentially millions of people by doing this.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for sharing that.
We have a lab area here for phase one also. So in terms of processing samples, storing samples, everything is brand new, state of the art. Whatever we are required to do by the protocol, we should be able to accommodate. We're not going to show you the smoking area. I don't think we need to, but I'll take you to the lounge area. You're going to edit this, Mike, right?
Okay. But it does show the vast expanse, the size, the square footage of this facility.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can see that this is like a mini hospital, honestly, 24 beds. 24/7. We have a large team now. Obviously we have showers for patients. They're going to be with us for a few nights, so they need this. And we have a very nice lounge area for them. So this is the patient activity room. As I said, many of them will spend a few days and nights with us, so we want them to stay entertained. So just have a relaxing area here with a big TV, and they would have access to Netflix and Hulu and whatever they need to stay entertained. But with these studies, sometimes they are intense for a few hours. Then you have to wait for a few hours where not much is going on, and that's why we want to keep them happy and entertained, so they don't get too bored until they finish the entire protocol. So they can relax in this area. We also have a kitchen area for them, and most of these studies you actually have to control what they're eating. So we have vendors where we actually buy specific foods, so we can control for certain things like sodium intake, for example, or protein intake.
Of course. And if there's nothing on Netflix, they can rewatch this film that we're doing right now.
Exactly. We'll play it on repeat. Yes. Thank you. So let's walk to imaging center, yeah?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, we're gonna go to the imaging center now.
In the kitchen, Naim, in the kitchen, is the food prepared for them, or
Yeah, we don't prepare the food here. Actually, we just buy it.
delivered?
So you can be very specific on what you want in a meal. So we don't do meal prep. No. But this is, if they want to also have a few things, they're allowed. That's the easiest way. Around this way.
This is probably the longest way, but
Okay, that's good. Yeah. Nick, you don't have to just follow me one way.
I think we're gonna need little yellow footprints on the ground.
that way too.
Okay, so Mike, I'm going to show you something cute here, but if you see on the wall, Nick can show you, we had a competition actually for all the kids of our own employees at Arizona Liver Health to come up with this, art project, and we actually selected a few winners. So you're going to see all these cute.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. I was gonna say if you can go in a little bit, that's great. I would definitely get lost.
I'm used to that way.
There we go.
Welcome, Mike. This is ACT Imaging. So this is, again, our state-of-the-art imaging facility dedicated to clinical research. So we are open for business also to help other clinical trial sites also with all their imaging needs. Clinical trials where we need MRI PDFF, MRI elastography, Fibroscan, ultrasound. So we will utilize this facility to help us with our own clinical trials, but we're also open for other research sites if they need any help with research imaging. So we're getting into the magnet zone. I hope nothing flies off of my coat. Okay, so we are finalizing the opening for the imaging center. So this is our PET CT scan here. State of the art, brand new. So we would be able to actually scan people on opening day on September 19th, just, finalizing a few details here.
So Naim, before you leave, so what are we looking at there? Just briefly.
Oh, this is a PET CAT scan. So again, latest and greatest, to obtain CT scan and if needed also PET CT scan. This is very important for specific research projects, plays a significant role in research. Should be a very good technology to have at a research center.
Okay, great, thank you.
We cannot show you, like they're working on it. This is our X-ray machine. So, any needs for X-rays during clinical trials can be done here. I'm going to also show you our DEXA machine to check bone density, which is very important for us in many of the NASH clinical trials. So this is a DEXA machine, very standard. As you know, many of the medicines we are developing for MASH now may actually affect bone density or at least have the potential. So that's why we do a lot of DEXA scans. We also have this machine to do a retina exam, which is also important in certain protocols that we do. For example, if you're using GLP-1s in patients with type 2 diabetes, there's that hypothetical risk of causing retinal disease, and you have to do a baseline exam. So this is the machine we use. All right, Mike. This is it for imaging. Anything you wanted to highlight or ask about?
Clearly, you have as much as some of the hospitals have, because you have a very complete array of assessment tools available to you, and they're all state of the art, which is like so impressive.
All brand new. So we have 3T MRI, we have the PET CT scan, DEXA machine, chest X-ray or just X-rays in general, ultrasound, and Fibroscan. We also have some of the new technologies that are just making it to markets, such as hepatoscope. We have VelaCure. We have the latest and greatest when it comes to determining the presence of steatotic liver disease and staging the disease with measuring liver stiffness. All these technologies are available to our patients as part of clinical trials.
And I have like a two-part question. Do you have any idea, I guess you forecast it, but how many patients you would see, I don't know, every month or every week or just something like, just to get an idea of the volume like that you hope to come through there? Obviously, you're just starting out, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we are a large volume clinical trial site. So we have a very busy resource site in Chandler and another one. Typically at each site, we have, 8 to 10 clinical trials that are open for enrollment, and then many other trials in the background. So these patients need imaging typically at baseline to determine if they qualify for the study, and then at certain time points. So we are expecting to do hundreds of MRIs a year for just, clinical trials. And the same can be said for DEXA scans, ultrasounds, Fibroscans. It's going to be a busy place for sure.
That's amazing. Okay, what else do we have more to see here?
Yes, next I'm going to take you to ACT, Arizona Clinical Trials. Okay, so this is where we do non-liver clinical trials.
Okay. It's really so almost overwhelmingly amazing what you're doing here.
It's big. So now we are entering into Arizona Clinical Trials, or ACT, and this is the company where we do actually non-liver related research studies. So we have a big obesity program. We are working also on several protocols related to high triglycerides. We have studies in type 2 diabetes, and then we have a very large vaccine program. So we've done work with RSV, with flu. We have some upcoming trials also in our Tucson office that we hope to enroll this fall, including a trial for flu vaccine and a trial for norovirus vaccine. This is very exciting, Mike, because norovirus is what people get on cruises and they get violently ill and they start vomiting, very contagious. And to have a vaccine for it is a big deal. I mean, I'm going to take it. I like my cruises and I like not to get sick. So we'll see, of course, still in research, but we want to have this available, and that might be something that all of us one day will receive. So this is the place where we do non-liver trials, busy program also. We have some brochures for patients also to tell them about the trials that we have available to them. And it's a standard research site, again, typically for phase 2 and 3 trials, so more advanced and not in the liver disease space. So we have a few exam rooms.
Funny, no, Naim, sorry, it's you say non-liver, and I get that because that's not the scope or focus of the trial that you're working on. But of course, with the metabolic disorders, there is going to be overlap with some of the patients struggling with obesity and type 2 diabetes.
Definitely, and that's why we decided to take on these trials, because we have a very large population that have, obesity. About 80% of our patients with MASLD MASH, they're overweight or obese, and then you have also pre-diabetes, diabetes, very common in this patient population. Same thing with dyslipidemia, and this is, the key in clinical trials is that you need to have the right patient population and be able to enroll the patients quickly for the sponsor, have low screen failure rates, so resources. And once you include them in the trial, it's key to retain them and make sure they don't drop out before we get to the primary endpoints. So all of these things play a role in how we select the trials that we take on at Arizona Liver Health. But we never want to overcommit and under-deliver. When we commit, we want to over-deliver for the sponsors.
Sure.
All right. So I think that would be it. I mean, I can show you some cubicles, or maybe I'll show. Do you want me to show you the admin team?
Okay.
Educational stuff. Oh.
Yeah, we can actually say hello to some other people.
Yes, it's not empty, I promise. We have like 50 people working here today.
You'll surprise them.
Just show me. Oh.
Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.
All right. So, Michael, this is our conference room, and these are amazing research directors here. This is Angie Coast. I think you may have met her before.
Hi.
She is in
Hi.
charge of phase 1 program, and then this is Shelley Miselli, and she is in charge of the phase 2 and 3 program. Do I have your permission to do this for the Canadian Fatty Liver Foundation?
Oh,
Yes.
wow. Awesome.
All right, but this is so this is where we also do preceptorships. So we've done multiple MASLD and MASH preceptorships with different pharmaceutical companies. We typically host their MSLs, pharma reps, sometimes people from the commercial team, to educate about anything related to chronic liver diseases. Focus on MASLD and MASH, but we can also do things related to cirrhosis, portal hypertension, primary biliary cholangitis, cholestatic liver disease. So we are utilizing this conference room heavily. And we have another space if we have more people that we need to host.
Hey, having been in pharma for over 25 years, I know that that kind of training is priceless.
Yes. And then this is, the admin team. So you have a bunch of people working here. So you have, people from HR, people from IT, people from finance, you name it. It's a big company. So we are up to 209 employees now as Arizona Liver Health and ACT.
Incredible.
All right.
Yeah.
We left it there.
Good.
Yeah, let's step out in the hallway. I got a couple of questions for you as as we wrap up here. So maybe we can take a seat in one of the chairs. Sure, you got a chair in the lobby there. We could have a chat for a minute.
Yeah.
It's quiet. So
Is this okay here?
it's perfect. The world is changing as you speak to other colleagues and patients around the world about, you know, what's happening in liver disease. And so it seems to me that you are seeing the future and being prepared for it in so many ways, right? You're not waiting until there's all these patients that can't be seen. You're setting it up so that there's a place for all of these patients to go.
Absolutely. I mean, you always have to be, aware of what's coming next in clinical research. Obesity pipelines are really deep now within multiple pharmaceutical companies, and we definitely have the right patient population. I think this will also help treat MASLD and MASH. We are also very interested in looking at agents that can prevent muscle loss from the weight loss drugs, and we are working on a couple of protocols for that indication. And then we anticipate will play a big role for us is really aging research. We're all getting older, Mike. We all lose muscle mass as we get
Not us.
older. Yeah, and having an agent that can preserve muscle mass for someone with liver cirrhosis, an elderly patient who's frail, someone waiting for liver transplantation and losing so much muscle mass can make them a poor candidate. I think that will go a long way. So this is something up and coming. And as I said earlier, our passion clinically is liver disease. But when it comes to research, my vision is that we are an agnostic company to the indication that we just conduct high quality clinical trials that will take any sponsor to the finish line and hopefully FDA approval.
Fantastic. I can't thank you enough for spending the last pretty close to half an hour giving everybody a tour of this truly state-of-the-art facility. I'm sure that there's going to be questions from people, and we'll come up with a way to send them to you so that you could talk about it a little bit more.
Absolutely, with pleasure. And thank you so much, my friend. Always appreciate everything you do, and always happy to help you also if you need anything from me. And we need to have you here in person soon.
I know.
Just let us know. You have an open invitation.
Thank you. I want to wait. We'll wait till it's really busy. I'll come in and we'll do a short one again and share what a hustling, bustling place it's going to be. So thank you very much, Nick. Thanks for doing the video. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike.